Welcome to Breakfast with Barry. Hello everybody, it's Barry here. Hope you are well wherever you are in the world. Welcome to our kitchen. Today, we're doing a video that this time yesterday I wasn't gonna do. Yeah, I was actually planning on doing a kitchen gadget video today, but it doesn't matter. If this goes well, I'll do that tomorrow. But yes, today we're gonna attempt to do something based on this scene last night. That is the scene that I filmed on my phone in the supermarket last night. So I was there to get ingredients for my gadget video, and Mrs. B said, can you grab some cereal for the kids? And I thought, oh my gosh, not only was I surprised by the scariness of the size of boxes of cereal right now, it's crazy how small they're getting. Like they're literally, a standard size box now is turning into what a variety pack used to be. But I like it when Mrs. B tells me to do that, because I'll go and get cereal, and in my mind I'm like, yes, I'm gonna get a cereal I want. And I was kind of after some Cocoa Pops, and I thought, I haven't had Golden Grahams for blooming years. I know you can get them online still and in some other supermarkets, but the main one I went to didn't have Golden Grahams, or even alone, they didn't have the more modern, in my opinion, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I was like, oh my gosh. So that's why I've sort of binned off today's gadget video, and I am prioritizing. You might remember we did like some Operation Homemade Breakfast cereals. We did cornflakes, for example, which was really, really fun. We learned quite a bit. So today, we're not only gonna try and make homemade Golden Grahams, but also homemade Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Nice. And of course, spoiler alert, as always, I have never rehearsed these recipes. It is just literally see if it works. If it does, and you attempt it, yours will be way better. That is the whole point of my channel. Let's get going, and apparently we're just making a dough. We're gonna start with something nice and easy to build the confidence up. We're gonna make a cinnamon sugar. This is granulated sugar, so not caster sugar, which I'm sure you could use, but this is slightly more coarse, which I think with a cereal with a coating, I kind of want that. And then a tablespoon of cinnamon. For our cinnamon toast, cinnamon is going to be quite an important ingredient. All right, so this is the bit that's kind of freaking me out a little bit, is because of breakfast cereal, when I think in the morning I pour my milk in, I bite and have a nice good old crunch. We're actually making a dough. Like, we're gonna get my pastry blender thing out in a minute, or you could just use a food processor if you want. So we're gonna use a couple of different types of flour. We're gonna, this sounds crazy to me. I've got this vision of a factory of like all these people making dough now, which I'm sure they've got machines and stuff, obviously. Plain flour, okay, also known as all-purpose flour. I didn't realize, but most of the fiber from plain flour is stripped from it during the manufacturing process. So it's pretty much just dust, really. So our cereal has got a good wheat content in it, so we do want to get some of that in there. We're going to mix it up with a ratio, and this is whole wheat flour. Whole wheat flour, as implied, is made up of the whole wheat kernel, endosperm. So there we go, we're gonna mix the two together, so a little bit of classic and a little bit of wheaty goodness for our dough, which I just can't get my head around. Hopefully this will just show the color contrast slightly. You see that there? It does look different, doesn't it? I'm gonna shimmy in some more cinnamon on top, and a pinch of salt. I think like in 30 years time or something, if I'm sure these videos will still be on YouTube or whatever it's called then, people are like, why is he doing that? I'd be like, oh, this is salt-based thing that was popular even for me now, like 3 years ago. In the words of Jules, you're gonna need a bigger bowl. Yes, we're gonna dump this straight in here now, because we're gonna grind away. We're gonna make the pastry, so you can do this. I hate that, fingers and thumbs. I remember the first time I mentioned that whole rubbing thing for pastries and stuff. Someone said about getting one of these, I've mentioned it before, a pastry blender cutter thing. Now, if only I had 250 grams of cold cubed butter that's been sat in the fridge whilst we've been doing all these steps, I would have been so much more ahead and advanced to myself. This is basically pastry, folks. Is breakfast cereal pastry? Let's debate. Blending, pushing that fat through to bite and join the flour. Well, it is starting to come together actually into like nice little sheets of the dough. I had a feedback the other day. Someone, Barry, can you tell us what things smell like a bit more? That smells like flour. A bit like with the pastry, you will add some fluid in now. So we're gonna go for vanilla first of all, and it'd be really cheeky to add milk, kind of like cereal Inception with like milk and then you pour milk on at the end. That'd be amazing. But we're gonna go with H2O. About a tablespoon in at a time, because it's the kind of thing that if you add too much, you're gonna have to add more flour in and go back and forth over and over, which is probably a really fun game to play if you want. I'm fairly happy with that. Right, let's roll. We have got some flour onto some baking parchment, just because these wooden worktops, if I do it on here, whenever I find it, if I dust it and then roll stuff out, I have to sand my worktop down like the next week after, because there's always teeny bits of flour getting in there. So baking parchment if you've got a wooden worktop, please. I think just to give myself a bit more control, I'm only going to use half of it for now. But if you get to this stage and it works, well, you could wrap that in cling film, bung it in the freezer. Cereal's getting really expensive in the supermarkets and stuff, so this could be a thing. I don't know. Yes. Beautiful. But other than these sort of like jagged edges around here, I mean, you could have it kind of like rustic cereal like that. I like that. We're just going to cut it nice and neat. And what happens is we brush this in some melted butter. So this is some extra butter, like a tablespoon that I've got. And that is making it very healthy, isn't it? Oh my gosh. I'm mulling over doing the other side as well, but I'm concerned it might stick. We're going to see what happens with the next step, which is we grab our cinnamon sugar from before and let that butter stick it to the surface. Now I've put a bit too much on there because some of it's not actually absorbing in. But that's fine because all I'm going to do is get another pastry brush and just push away that excess. Amazing. So that stands out a bit more now. We are going to take even strips all the way down. So if I just literally lift one piece up, there is our homemade cinnamon toast crunch. I just hope it doesn't triple in size when we bake it because I'm really happy with that size. Ta-da! There we go. I've got about 2/3 of my total amount on there. And I was partly thinking to myself, why the hell didn't I just do it all on my seal pat, my baking sheets, my Barry Lewis baking mats? Speaking of which, this is my garage, a little bit of a mess, but there is 1,500 baking mats in there going to Amazon UK. So the listing is back live. So they'll ship all over Europe, but also there's Amazon US available at the moment anyway. But UK ones are back. I finally got my listing. I talked about that before, but some pesky person literally stole my listing and could have nicked all of my stock as well. But I've now got it all done official and proper. I never want to go through that again. So yeah, if you fancy a Barry Lewis baking mat, up to you. They have come in handy, and like I say, I could have just done it all on there rather than the baking parchment, to be honest. This oven is preheated. It's a 350F 180C 160 fan gas Mark IV, and these really do look like pieces of toast. I'm so excited about this. It should go in here for about 15 minutes. Now, I've only had the cinnamon toast cereal, I think, genuinely about 2 times in my entire life, but I'm really excited for that. The Grahams, which we'll start in a minute, once these are baked, I want to get them done, make sure I'm happy with them, or we'll try again. The Grahams, I think, are slightly more honey-based, and there's less of a intensity of the sugary cinnamon coating. So we'll move on to that in a bit, but let's see what they turn out like. Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh, the cinnamon is baked into the toasts. I'm really happy with those. So we've got that real nice sort of cinnamon sugar coated one side. I didn't flip it to do the other, but I think that's absolutely fine. You can if you want to. They are actually still quite hot, so we'll let them cool down and move on. I had a lot of Golden Grahams as a kid, and we're aiming for a slightly lighter vibe this time. We're going to push it with the whole wheat flour, but we're going to add a honey twist and a lighter brown sugar, just for kind of like a sort of honey caramelizey kind of vibe, if that makes sense. Whereas that was, the cinnamon toast is really baked in cinnamon, and of course you can bake that as much as you want. We pushed it pretty hard, but this Golden Graham should be a little bit lighter. So a big master bowl again, and in goes the whole wheat flour. Okay, so all of that, no plain flour this time. And instead of the granulated sugar we used, again, a coarser sugar as well, but this is a light brown sugar. Cinnamon, obviously, and a pinch of salt. So again, we add the moisture in, except this time it's going to be a little different, and you'll see why in a moment. Vanilla, as always, but for that Grahamness, if that's even a word, your name could be Graham, and your surname might be Nuss. There we go, it's dedicated to you. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 tablespoons of honey. Honey Grahams, baby. Honey Grahams. And then again, instead of water, this is some melted butter, and I'm only going to add a small bit at the moment. So no water, honey and butter. Cheeky little thing. Oh, look at that wave. And you really don't want to add too much moisture to this, otherwise it is going to end up very naughty indeed. It is easy to handle, not too crumbly. If it's too crumbly, that's when you want to add more fluid in, but that's actually not too bad. I'll keep going a little bit longer. So I've just shaped it into a ball, and it's still just a slightly bit too crumbly. So I'm really happy with that, because we can give ourselves a really good amount of control here just by adding a little bit more moisture at a time. I mean, you could probably get away with just adding water if you want, but adding that butter in, yeah, that is cheeky. Oh, Got to do the smell thing, haven't I? That actually genuinely does smell a lot like Golden Grahams already. This time, we're gonna roll it out with baking parchment over the top. Mate, this dough seems way easier. I think it's just the whole thing of like not having to blend the pastry together, but it is way more delicate. I'm glad that we've done this one on the final sheet that we're gonna bake it on. I forget the recipe now, but I made like quite a sticky dough, and someone suggested a tip of sticking your knife into flour. I forget what I'm sure it was some sort of crazy cake thing. Because it's sticky, the knife could actually stick to it. But if you dip it in flour slightly, it stops the opportunity of the stickiness getting to the blade and possibly affecting your perfectly straight cut. So apparently with this one, there is no butter. It's a much more lighter sprinkling of that cinnamon sugar that we had before. For the Grahams, the sugar and cinnamon is a lot less of the star player here. So you just kind of sprinkle a little bit on, and what sticks in, sticks in. You just go kind of stick with what you stuck in. We're sticking with it. We still do need to separate these, so this is going to take a little bit of time. If on the off chance that you live in a country warmer than the UK, which to be honest is highly likely, you could put it in the fridge for like 10 minutes just to firm the dough up a little bit and then slice it really easily. In fact, I should be doing that, but this is working all right.
2,000 years later.
Actually, in the second thoughts, I really highly endorse you put it in the fridge. That was took way too longer than it needed to, and it was quite clammy. A little bit like changing a nappy. They look really good. I'm so happy with the colour in there. The only problem was it was just a much more temperamental dough to handle. It was just that little bit wetter and stickier, and getting them into the tray and just arranging them was just horrible. So do make sure you lightly flour down your baking parchment. All right, Graham, in you go. See you in about 15 minutes. So yeah, I'll bake it for 15 and maybe turn the oven off and just let it sort of dry out for another 5 in there just to enhance the crispiness. And then we're gonna try both of them in milk as you would do in the morning. I don't think I wanna do any retests of this. I'm feeling fairly confident. This is no way homemade cornflake territory. But if we're gonna do this, and the ingredients I've got generally were really easy to get hold of and quite cheap, it could be worthwhile. I'll let you make that call. But ultimately, see what they taste like. All right, so they're done. They both cooled down. These are much more coarse-like, and when you flip them over, the color is crazy. And the Grahams, they are nice and cool too, nice and firmed up, but the color is much more subtle and consistent. So, into an airtight container they go. Right, so we should role play this a little bit. It's the morning, you've come downstairs, you take that off. Oh my gosh, airtight container so it doesn't go stale. Oh, they look awesome. Oops. Yeah, baby. Oops. Welcome to Breakfast with Barry. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. And if you are, make sure your notifications are turned on. I said that a few times recently, and someone the other day was like, oh, I'm glad I turned my notifications on, because like YouTube actually tells me now you put up a video. That's really cool. Back in the good old days, I used to do it anyway. Let's get some milk on there. Ugh. It certainly smells like a cinnamon protest in here, and that is not a bad thing. All right, I don't know which one to go for first. I'm gonna go for the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, the order we made it. Okay, here we go. Nice sort of spoonful. Mmm. Oh. Mmm. Oh, wow. That was insane. There was a bit of a crunch, and then all of a sudden, it actually sort of melts in the mouth. Mmm. Mmm. I don't know because it's freshly baked, but the intensity there of the cinnamon is absolutely gorgeous. You get an initial crunch, and then the milk hits it and kind of sort of like softens it, and it's not like it's made in the factory. It's not identical, I will say that. But you're getting the same taste. It is similar, but they're like an enhanced baked like cinnamon vibe to it as well. As it disperses, the cinnamon is like around all your gums, and it's like, it's really nice. I would have that again, like every morning for breakfast, no problem. Absolute stonker. And the Grahams, which smell really good, I'm hoping for a little bit more crispness. Mmm. 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 I've got to say it, that tastes so much like it. I think maybe I've enhanced the honey a teeny bit more, but in my opinion, that is not a bad thing. Possibly more unhealthy than this one with literally replacing the water with straight butter. But you've got the crunch, you've got that sort of subtle caramelized sweetness with the cinnamon. And I've had a lot more Grahams in my life than the Cinnamon Toast. And whereas this is gorgeous and slightly on the cookie side. It's that softness, you get that hit, that crunch, but the milk just suddenly makes it all dissolve, which is not a bad thing. This is holding the shape, holding the crunch, holding the flavour. And I think out of the two, it might be my own upbringing, but I am much more attracted to this one. They're both good in their own ways. You might prefer that, but I'm so happy. I'm so happy with how this has turned out. Proper chuffed. But I've still got some left in the tubs and left on the tray. Plus we had double leftover on there. So I think out of each portion, you're gonna get about 5 adult servings of each one. So they're similar measurements anyway. I'll add notes to the recipe in my opinion based on any little tweaks I've got. But I really hope you try it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see any other Operation Cereal, yeah, I really like the idea of trying homemade Cheerios. Let me know down below and I'll see you soon. Bye.
If I take you to my crib, you'll be in for a thrill. I'll be spitting on the menu, chuck some food on the grill. I like to do my cooking at 10 to 9. You can do it anytime and you'll be just fine.
Oh, well, I know what I'm having for my breakfast for the rest of the week. See you later.